Welcome to the Calm Mom Podcast, the show for ambitious women ready to get off the hot mess express. I know you've got a lot going on. You work so hard, you're raising an incredible family, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. I'm your host, Michelle Grosser. I'm a certified master life coach, attorney, wife, and mom. And years ago, I was right where you are. I was running a busy law practice while raising a family, and I was on the fast track to burnout. I thought I just needed to be more organized or have better routines, but it was learning how to heal and regulate my nervous system that expanded my capacity to gracefully hold more of this big, beautiful life. You too are worthy of an extraordinary life in and beyond motherhood. Learning to be a calm, anchoring presence in your home and at work is going to be your superpower. If you're here to do the inner work that brings a sense of calm amidst the chaos, I'm here to join you on that journey. Each time you press play, your growth continues. So let's get at it. What up, you guys? It's Michelle here. Welcome to the Calm Mom Podcast. On the show today, we're going to talk about something I kind of feel like it's on the mind of every woman who likes to get stuff done. Every high achiever, every ambitious woman, every mom who's running things and just feels like she's juggling a million things at once. And it's this. I want to talk about why being busy isn't the same thing as being productive. And I think I really want to touch on why this distinction's crucial if we're going to try to create a mostly stress-free, fulfilling life. Right? Because I know a lot of you probably feel like I feel sometimes and how I used to feel all the time, that I'm constantly busy, right? I was just had like endless to-do lists I was checking off, jumping from task to task. You know, I was like going from the minute my feet hit the floor in the morning, getting through the day without ever feeling like I was doing work that was moving the needle, right? I was busy, sure. I'm not so sure I was always productive. And if that sounds familiar, this is for you. It's as if like the harder we work, the less we actually accomplish and the more stressed we feel. And then at the end of the day, we're like, whoa, I didn't stop today. Where in the heck did that time go? Right? Like, what did I do today? But what's going to happen with you today listening to this episode is that we're going to dig into why this happens. And then we're going to talk about how to start shifting from this cycle of quote unquote doing to real productivity that leaves you feeling fulfilled at the end of the day. Now, I also want to tell you guys about a free workshop I'm hosting on April 9th. I'm calling it the Calm and Collected Workshop. I want you to register with the link in the show notes and join me live. We're doing it on Zoom because what I'm going to do in that workshop is I'm going to teach you real-time tools to manage your stress and help you regain control of your productivity, among other things. Okay? All right. So let's start with the problem. I think the problem in general is kind of this busy trap, right? That busy trap that so many of us high achievers can get stuck in. We've probably all heard it from the people in our lives, and we've certainly probably all said it ourselves, right? Someone asks, how you doing, right? How's life been? How's your week been? And our response is just programmed to be like, oh, I'm so busy, right? There's so much going on. We had such a busy week, right? I'm kind of tired. It's been so busy lately. I know I've certainly gone through long periods of my life with that being my programmed go-to response, so much so that when I really started doing this work and coaching other women, I made a commitment to myself that I was never going to answer a question with that response ever again. Like, are there seasons of my life that move more quickly than others? Yes. Are there seasons of my life where my days are more full? Yes. And I have vowed to stay as far away from quote unquote busy as I can, because being busy doesn't mean you're being productive. Right? In fact, if we're being real, I think the research also supports this. Being busy is often the exact opposite of being productive. Because when we're busy, guys, we're in this constant state of reactivity, right? There's not a lot of intention in being busy. It's like, I got to check the emails, then I have to respond to the messages, and I have to go to the meeting, and then I have to take the things off the list. But are we really getting the right things done? right? Are we moving the needle toward our bigger goals and our desires and our values? Or are we just on a hamster wheel, right? Running in place, feeling like we're accomplishing a lot, but we're not actually moving forward, right? We're not actually feeling fulfilled. And for so many of us, busy has become a badge of honor, right? That is so affirmed by society. It's so encouraged. It's so rewarded by society, right? So it makes sense that we would wear that badge of honor proudly. And we get caught up in this false belief that if we're working hard and doing more, we're being productive. And here's the truth. Being busy isn't the same as being productive, right? True productivity is about intentionality. It's about actually doing the right things, not just doing things, but doing the right things, not even always doing good things, right? A lot of us spend our days busy doing good things. That's a very different approach than doing the right things. Good and right are not the same thing. In fact, a lot of times they're opposites. There's so many good things we could be doing with our time. A lot of those are not the right things for us to be doing in this season, right? The things that are actually moving us forward in a meaningful way are the right things for us now. And when we're constantly busy, guys, we just don't have the space, right? We don't have the space to focus on those right things, on what actually matters most. And we're spinning our wheels, creating more work without creating more progress. And it really feels like this frustrating, exhausting cycle that leaves us feeling, drained and unfulfilled. The other thing that's kind of coming to me with this too is this idea of like toxic productivity. I think that's even worse. It's kind of like this deep, I don't know, maybe you felt this. It's like this deep gnawing feeling that you should always be doing something. I've certainly felt that, right? It's like, oh, well, I have a few minutes of downtime. Let me jump into my emails late at night, or like, let me cram in some tasks over the weekend. And we kind of never fully shut off, even when we know we need to, even when we maybe even want to, we still don't do it. And it's a pattern that's only feeding stress and overwhelm. And that's why we need to shift the goal from just being productive and take it a step further to feeling fulfilled. Like, we talk a lot about productivity, and I'm here for it. Trust me, I love getting stuff done. But the more I think about it and meditate on it, I don't actually want to just be productive, right? I don't want to just get to the end of the day and be like, wow, I was so productive today. Like, that doesn't do a lot for balance. That doesn't do a lot for resilience. That doesn't do a lot for rest. Right? Like, being productive is one thing. Do I want to move my goals forward in alignment with my values? Yes, absolutely. But when I actually do that, it's not just being productive. I want to end the day feeling fulfilled, right? And I promise you, if you can adopt this mindset with me, fulfillment is such a better goal than productivity, right? Than simply checking boxes off a list, because we were not just created to do, right? We were not just created to work. We were created for so much more. There's so many other parts of us as women and parts of our life that are important and that need attention and time and bandwidth and energy and intention to make us feel truly fulfilled than just being productive, right? And intentional productivity, changing the way we think about productivity, not just doing for the sake of doing, okay? And let's talk for a second about how this relates to our nervous system. There's a difference between being busy and then being productive and fulfilled in our nervous system. When we're in a state of busy, you guys, when you're in this pattern of like go, 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 that is usually a red flag that your nervous system is dysregulated, that your nervous system is out of balance, right? That's a red flag that you, my friend, are running on overdrive. You are just reacting, right? Reacting to external demands, reacting to what other people need of you, reacting to what someone put on your calendar, right? Reacting to the emails that flow through your inbox without taking the time to slow down, reflect, right? Prioritize, and then focus on the most important things that actually move the needle. On the flip side, when we're being productive and we're living a life that feels fulfilling, it has to be done with intention, right? We're focusing on the things that really matter. We're aligning our actions with our deeper goals and our values. And when we talk about productivity and actually feeling fulfilled at the end of the day, one of the biggest shifts there, I think, is that it's actually not so much about what we do or what we did, right? sometimes I get to the end of the day and I did a ton. I don't feel particularly productive or fulfilled. I feel depleted and exhausted and kind of irritable. But when I get to the end of the day, feeling really productive and filled up and fulfilled, it's usually not so much about what I did that day, but about how I did it, right? And how much intention was behind it with a calm, clear mind, right? Grounded, present. And to get there, we need to be able to regulate our nervous system, because I'm going to tell you, when we're dysregulated, y'all, when we're in fight or flight, overwhelmed, anxious, reactive, right? Irritable, panicked, exhausted, constant state of reactive doing, instead of being where we want to be, proactive, intentional action, right? And I think that's why so many of us can fall into this productivity trap where it feels like such a struggle. So what I want to talk about a little bit today is kind of like the real key to lower stress productivity, because it's not about more doing. It's really about learning to manage your stress and regulate your nervous system so you can approach your tasks, the stuff you have to get done any day, with clarity, focus, and energy. All right. So when we talk about busyness, I want to talk about stress, because when we're busy, for the most part, right, that's our pattern of just being busy. That stress becomes chronic, and we're starting to live in this state of constant low-grade tension, overwhelm. That takes more of a toll than we realize on our brain and on our body, right? It's not just about feeling like frazzled after a long day. The physiological effects of chronic stress affect every part of us. It affects how we're functioning. It affects our productivity, our patience, our focus, our memory, our motivation, our parenting, right? All of our relationships. And to understand the root of the problem, we do need to take a minute to talk about fight or flight, because that's what's triggered when our body's under chronic stress, because that busyness, that go, go, go all the time, that like frantic, frenetic, already behind energy, our body's actually perceiving that as a real danger or a real threat, right? It's part of our sympathetic nervous system, which has evolved to keep us safe in the face of real danger, physical danger. But our brain doesn't do a good job at distinguishing between a real threat and a perceived threat. So when we experience the stress of day to day, right? Looming deadlines, difficult conversations, financial worries, like what have you, our body activates this fight or flight response. And there's a physiological flow from that, right? Our adrenal glands start to release cortisol, which is our stress hormone, and adrenaline, and it prepares our body to take action, right? Our heart starts to beat faster, and our blood pressure rises, and our muscles tend up, preparing us to fight or run. It's a really powerful reaction. But the problem is that the stress that we're experiencing when we're busy all the time, right? Modern life these days doesn't necessarily involve real life threat and danger. So we're dealing with this chronic low grade stress from our busy schedules, our endless to-do lists, right? Emotional overload. We live in this constant state of almost stress where we never quite are able to fully shut down. And that wreaks havoc on our body, on our brains, on our nervous system, because we're stuck in that fight or flight response, right? Every day that we're busy, our body activates our sympathetic nervous system, and it's pumping out all of these hormones, and it's preparing us to fight or to run. And then we spend most of the day sitting at our desk, and we wonder why we have anxiety and we feel overwhelmed and we're not able to get the things done that actually move the needle, right? And when that fight or flight is triggered throughout the day, you guys, holy moly, is it hard to focus. It's just so hard to focus, right? Because what happens is that when we're in fight or flight, our prefrontal cortex, that's the part of our brain that's responsible for like good, healthy productivity, right? It's responsible for higher level thinking. It's responsible for planning. It's responsible for problem solving. It's responsible for decision making, our highest levels of communication. All of those awesome qualities and traits flow through our prefrontal cortex. And when we're in fight or flight, that prefrontal cortex is offline. It is shut down. It's significantly impaired. When our body's in fight or flight, our brain is focused on what? Surviving, right? Not long-term strategy, not creativity, not productivity. So that actually, manifests in so many different ways that can be really annoying, frustrating to us if we don't understand what's going on, right? We want to sit down and be able to produce at a high level. But because we've been so busy, our body perceives that as threat. We're in a fight or flight response. Our prefrontal cortex is offline. We really struggle to prioritize, right? Your brain's overwhelmed, everything coming at you. We lose focus. We lose focus really easily because our cognitive resources are being diverted to stress responses, not like deep thinking. What else happens? We make impulsive decisions. Stress has us overwhelmed, right? Our ability to logically process information is compromised. And then I think one of the most interesting things is that when we're in fight or flight, when that prefrontal cortex is offline, we cannot access creativity. Creativity is a superpower, like powerhouse when it comes to productivity. We need creativity to problem solve, right? We need creativity to innovate. So in other words, when we're in a fight or flight, we're operating at like a reduced cognitive capacity. This is a big deal, right? Our brain in fight or flight just isn't equipped to be productive. It's too busy prioritizing survival. And guys, this is the core of why you've been feeling really busy lately, but unproductive. It's your body's stress response. It's hijacking your brain's capacity to work efficiently, and it makes it harder to stay focused, harder to make progress on your tasks, and it makes it really hard to feel like you've accomplished anything at the end of the day, even though you've been so busy, right? And when your nervous system is out of balance, your energy drains, your mental bandwidth shrinks, and you end up using all your resources just to like get through the day and survive and stay afloat rather than actually moving forward with intention, right? And that's the main reason why being busy is not the same thing as being productive. Okay, so now that we kind of talk about the science, let's talk about the solution because y'all know I'm not going to leave you hanging. The good news is that you can rewire your nervous system and you can regain control over your stress responses, right? Just because you've been in fight or flight doesn't mean you have to stay there. That's literally what I teach. So by learning to regulate your nervous system, you guys, you're going to be able to restore your brain's capacity to focus, to prioritize, and really to perform at its best. And that so much of that lies in emotional regulation, right? Can you manage and modulate your emotions in a healthy way? Because when you're able to regulate your emotional responses to stress, you guys, when you can shift out of fight or flight and you have tools to bring you back to baseline stress level, tools to bring you back to a state of rest and digest, habits like foundational lifestyle things that help you cultivate a state of regulation, your parasympathetic nervous system, it not only allows you to think more clearly, guys, but it activates your creativity, right? It brings all of that stuff from your prefrontal cortex back online, right? Your problem solving abilities, and you just feel more energized while feeling more calm and grounded at the same time. And y'all, this is it. Like, this is what we're after. And there's so many different ways that we can do this, right? So many different somatic practices, body-based practices, breath work, mindfulness that you can start to use to really reverse chronic stress and your chronic stress response. Really a shift from being reactive all day to being in a more responsive state, right? More space between stimulus and response where you can pause and then be intentional and make intentional and thoughtful decisions that move you toward your goals, right? That feel really aligned and move the needle for you. When your nervous system is regulated and you're in that rest and digest state, you guys, we're able to focus, we're able to think clearly, we're able to engage with tasks from a place of like calm intention and energy. And that's what I want to teach you inside of this Calm and Collected workshop on April 9th. So I'm going to show you how you can regulate your nervous system in real time because I want you to be able to shift from like feeling overwhelmed to feeling grounded and in control, right? Shift from feeling kind of just like frantic and reactive to actually being able to get to a place where you are intentional in your productivity. And I want to give you tools to help you manage your stress and regulate your nervous system so that you can like make the right choices, right? You can prioritize the right tasks to move you forward. You can work with focus and energy rather than fatigue. You can end your day feeling fulfilled and not so drained, because it's time for you, my friend, to break that cycle of busyness and stress, right? I want to teach you how to shift from just like doing more and being on that treadmill to actually doing the right things with clarity and intention and fulfillment. But that comes through first learning how to regulate your nervous system, because we need our prefrontal cortex to be able to do these things, right? And I want to teach you how to do this. I'm going to give you practical tools, 3 simple tools inside of the Calm and Collected workshop to help calm your nervous system so you can start feeling more productive without that like hamster wheel of busyness all day long. Okay. All right. So you can go ahead, sign up for the workshop today. The link is in the show notes. Calm and Collected workshop, April 9th, completely free. It's going to be great. I want to see you there. It's going to create a shift that I think you've been really looking for. This might be the missing piece, right? You've tried all the things. I'm sure you have. I'm sure you've tried all these different productivity hacks, and you've tried all the different planners and all the different systems. And if you're still finding that you're having a hard time carrying it out, right? Putting it into practice, or you're getting a lot of stuff, quote unquote, done, but you're not really feeling fulfilled or productive, I think this is going to be a missing piece for you that's going to make a lot of sense and be super helpful. So I'll see you on April 9th, Calm and Collected workshop. Save your seat. The free registration is at the link in the show notes. We'll dive even deeper into these strategies. All right. Thanks so much for being with me today. Love you guys so much. I'll talk to you soon.
If you love Mommy's Podcast, leave a review.
If you enjoyed this episode, it would be so awesome if you could take a moment to subscribe and rate the podcast. And if you have just a few more seconds to leave a quick review, they really help to get this podcast out to other moms like you. I read every last review, and trust me, when it's late at night or early in the morning before my kids get up and I'm working on bringing you all of this content, your reviews are what keep me going. Leaving a review is truly the best way you can thank me. And of course, DM me on Instagram. I love to hear from you. Thanks for listening to another episode. Head over to the show notes for this episode and all past episodes at michellegrosser.com, where you'll find free resources and more ways to connect with me. If you love the show, share it with a friend. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next time.